Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Sasheen coming to you to talk about choices. There are so many things that people have to do, so many choices that one has to make, especially when you're talking about the transition of out of a relationship. And this week on the podcast, I'm talking about this idea of doing the next best thing, and how when you think about the next best thing that you need to do, it helps you fight through the fear that keeps you paralyzed. But that's for the podcast. So go on over and listen on my platforms and hear what I'm talking about this week in terms of doing the next best thing and battling through the fears so that you come out of the other side of things in a better position than where you were. But let me quickly, in our morning moment, talk about why the idea of choice is so central to doing the next best thing. So the next best thing is this idea, right? This really simple idea. And Oprah Winfrey says it so much better than I'm ever going to. But she talks a lot about making the decision to put yourself first. And when you think about doing the next best thing for any situation, if your idea isn't how does this impact me first and everything else second, then you're not engaging in the next best thing. You're not engaging in the next best thing for you. Now, you might be engaging in the next best thing for other people, but you are not engaging in the next best thing for you. And that we can see play out over and over and over again when people make decisions that are not the next best thing for them, but they do it out of a sense of obligation. They do it out of a sense of guilt. They say yes to things they should say no to because they believe that their choices are confined and constricted only by this moment. And that is definitely not the case. And when I listen to my favorite speakers like Lisa Nichols and Oprah Winfrey and even Steve Harvey right now, because I'm starting to get into a little bit more of his stuff. But one of the things that they say, one of the things that people really talk about is the moment when they realize they cannot help anyone out of the emptiness of their own cup. And yet the decision that people continually make over and over and over again is to deplete their own cup as they try to fill up someone else's, and then they wonder why they feel so depleted. Or they don't wonder, they know why they feel so depleted, but they cannot break the sense of guilt and shame that comes with the acknowledgement that I got to put my own oxygen mask on first, right? I have to do it. So, as you're thinking about the decisions that you have to make today, whether those are financial, emotional, physical, environmental, family wise, whatever the case may be, what you want to ask yourself and what you always want to be thinking about is what is the next best thing that I need to do to move me towards the thing that I want to have happen? And if you are going through a relationship that is transitioning, those questions become super important because whatever you are choosing to do in the moment is going to lay the groundwork for the rest of that relationship. Whether that relationship terminates completely or you share children together, the things that you choose to do in the moment that remind you to put yourself first are always going to serve you in the process of getting a divorce or transitioning out of a long-term relationship. And it's also a reminder that at some point it was because you didn't put yourself first that you allow certain things to become reality in your life that you probably didn't want to be there to begin with. And so relearning the concept of putting yourself first is super important, but also establishing that first and putting yourself first is not a dirty word, and it is in fact the golden rule.